Gaffer, it's the turn of competitive action tomorrow afternoon. How would you reflect on the pre-season preparation and the squad's readiness for tomorrow?
Yeah, listen, I think everybody's ready, Gareth. You know, we would have liked to win more games. You know, we want to get into that winning mentality. But the biggest thing in pre-season is always about getting the minutes and the legs, and I think we've got that. You know, we're still adding to the group as best we can. You know, it's been a little bit of a slow start with all the stuff went on early part of May into June, so I'm delighted that's out the way now. You know, the board have been terrific. You know, they've went and found more finances to hopefully add to the squad. So the biggest thing for myself now is finding that quality and then adding to the squad with the quality that's already here.
Yeah, Peterhead tomorrow. It's obviously going to be a tough match away from home, but what are you expecting from it?
It'll be a tough game. You know, they've got nothing to lose. You know, we're the championship team. You know, they'll be looking at it as a chance to have an upset, so we have to be careful of that. You know, we've been in that situation many times, and we can't allow that to happen tomorrow. They're at home, so they'll be looking to start fast as always. But listen, I think we've got enough quality in the group to go there and come away with a positive result. But we have to also be ready with the mindset of it's going to be a difficult game. We have to take nothing for granted, and we have to show respect to Peterhead, and I'm sure we'll do that. But like I say, I always look for 3 points in that same tomorrow.
And of course, we've seen in previous seasons as well the importance of getting off to a good start in the League Cup campaign. You know, be much the same tomorrow, won't it?
No, of course. You know, we were disappointed last season with the start we made, but credit to these five. You know, they were excellent on the day, and we don't want to repeat that tomorrow. And that's firmly in the back of my head. You know, the players are well aware of that. But listen, I'm looking for a reaction tomorrow, coming off the back of Tuesday. We know it wasn't good enough, but you know, we're still liking numbers. You know, it's difficult. Players are playing in 90 minutes when really they're not at that level yet. You know, we're still through pre-season. We don't have the numbers to try and split the squads for 45, etc. So it's been tough on the players, but listen, they've been through the mill before, and we're ready to go. Yeah,
in terms of the obviously signed boys, how are we in terms of squad shape for tomorrow?
Yeah, well, listen, we've got a full squad to choose from apart from Michael Garrity. You know, he's still carrying that slight injury he picked up first couple of days of pre-season, so we're hoping to get him a scan tomorrow, which will determine if there's any more damage to that. It's more recuperation at the moment for him so that it doesn't get any worse, but we just want to send him for a scan to make sure there's nothing underlying, and then hopefully Michael can up his rehab and we can get him back in the pitch as soon as possible, because he's going to be a big player for us this season.
And today, obviously, we saw the news of Billy Davies joining the coaching staff as well. You know, how pleased are you to have him on board, and you know, how important is that, an addition like that? Yeah,
well, first and foremost, I've got to give a lot of thanks to Brian Bonner, Dalrada, the board, the chairman, you know, the board of directors, because they've put a lot of effort in to get this over the line. And I thank them for that. You know, it's been a tough period for everyone in the last few months, like I've said previously, and hopefully this is us now turning a corner this season. And listen, on Billy, you know, I've been working on this the last couple of weeks to get it over the line. It's been kept well under wraps, but like I say, I'm delighted to get someone of the calibre of Billy Davies in to help me in the dugout, on the training field, and his experience will be invaluable for everyone at the football club, myself included. So yeah, we're really looking forward to getting down to work, and like I say, we're excited by the project, and we're excited to get going.
Yeah, what have some of your first conversations been like with him?
Yeah, listen, I've known Billy now for over 18 months. You know, I've spoke to him at length. I've spoke to him for advice through last season when things weren't going so well, and he's always been there. He's always at the end of the phone. But when I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago regarding this situation in the position, it was a no-brainer for him. You know, he was delighted to get back on the grass. The conversation has been very positive. You know, we'll take one step at a time. You know, we need to get to work. You know, I've been on my own for the last 3-4 weeks, so it's going to be great to have a new fresh pair of eyes, a new fresh pair of hands to dig in and take us forward. And I'm really looking and excited to work with Billy on a day-to-day basis now.